Have you ever wondered how the life of one of the most iconic figures in history, Moses, began? Our story begins in the land of the pyramids and pharaohs, Egypt, at a time when the Hebrew people were enslaved and their lives were marked by difficulties and toil. During this time, a decree was issued stating that all newborn Hebrew boys must be killed, an attempt to contain the growing slave population. In the midst of this chaos and fear, a child was born. A boy. His name was Moses. His mother, Jochebed, courageously hid him for 3 months and finally, desperate to save her son from the cruel fate decreed by Pharaoh, she devised a plan. A plan that would require immense courage and a leap of faith. Moses' mother, defying Pharaoh's decree, hid her newborn in a papyrus basket, waterproofed with tar and pitch. With a heavy heart and hopeful prayers, she placed the basket in the reeds along the bank of the Nile River. As fate would have it, Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe in the river. Located among the reeds, the small basket intrigued her. Inside it, she discovered the boy Moses. Moved by the child's helplessness, she decided to adopt him, unaware of his Hebrew origins. Thus the Hebrew baby, destined for death, was raised in the grandeur of the Egyptian royal court. Moses grew up under the tutelage of Egyptian scholars, learning the art of leadership, the nuances of diplomacy, and the strategies of war. All the while, his true identity, his Hebrew heritage, remained a secret, even from him. This twist of fate, this dichotomy of life, is what shaped Moses. Born a Hebrew slave, he was raised as an Egyptian prince. An existence marked by paradoxes was the beginning of a life destined for miracles, a life that would forever alter the course of history. Thus Moses, born a Hebrew slave, was raised in luxury, setting the stage for a life of paradoxes and miracles. But, despite his position of privilege in the palace, Moses' heart beat in solidarity with his Hebrew people. This deep connection to his roots prepared him for the role he was destined to play. His own experience as a member of Pharaoh's house contributed to his growth as a leader. As he became learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, he not only gained knowledge but also developed an influence that would serve him well in his future journey. But Moses' life was about to take a turn. When Moses intervened to defend an oppressed Hebrew, he killed an Egyptian and had to flee to Midian. There, under the watchful eye of Jethro, he found humility and learned to shepherd flocks. This seemingly ordinary phase was essential training for the trials he would face. Over time, he became the meekest of all men on the surface of the ground, demonstrating his humility and dependence on God. What does it take for a man to abandon his life of privilege and comfort? Well, for Moses it took a profound revelation and a divine mission. After killing an Egyptian slave owner, Moses became a fugitive in a land far removed from the grandeur of the Egyptian court. Here he began a new life. But the tranquility of his pastoral life was soon disturbed by an extraordinary encounter. One day, toward the end of his 40-year stay in Midian, while tending Jethro's flock near Mount Horeb, Moses stumbled upon a burning bush. However, miraculously, the bush was not consumed. This was no ordinary fire. It was a divine fire, a sign from the heavens. Within this burning bush, God revealed himself to Moses. The voice of the Almighty echoed, directing Moses to return to Egypt and free the Israelites from the chains of slavery.
Moses, Moses, I have certainly seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry because of those who force them to work, and I know very well how much they are suffering. Come, I will send you to Pharaoh, and you will bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt."
It also provided the credentials that Moses could present to the elders of Israel. These were in the form of 3 miracles as signs. Here, for the first time in Scripture, we read that a human was empowered to perform miracles. So under God's direction, Moses was about to perform impressive miracles and become a leader for his people. This was a monumental task. Moses, a fugitive, would face the powerful Pharaoh, demanding the release of the enslaved Israelites. But he was not alone. With the divine power bestowed upon him, Moses assumed the mantle of leadership. Moses, once a fugitive, now became a divine emissary, chosen to lead his people to freedom. This turning point, this encounter with the burning bush, didn't just change Moses' life, changed the course of history. It set the stage for one of the most epic narratives of liberation, resistance, and faith ever told. Returning to Egypt, Moses came not as a prince, but as a liberator. Emboldened by divine revelation at the burning bush, Moses marched into the heart of Egypt with a singular, divine purpose: to free the Israelites from the shackles of slavery. He warned Pharaoh of the dire consequences of his obstinacy. When words failed to move the Egyptian monarch, divine intervention began to articulate the gravity of the situation in language that the Pharaoh would understand. Thus, Egypt was subjected to the 10 plagues, a series of divine afflictions that demonstrated the power of the God of Israel. Even so, Pharaoh's heart remained unyielding. After the 10th and final plague, the death of the firstborn, Pharaoh finally gave in and, in desperation, ordered the Israelites to leave. And now, my friends, we come to a moment of true wonder, an episode that challenges the limits of human understanding. We find ourselves on the edge of the Red Sea, where the story of Moses presents us with an unforgettable miracle. Upon reaching the Red Sea, the Israelites were trapped between the advancing Egyptian army and the seemingly impassable sea. But Moses, full of faith, stretched out his staff over the sea. Miraculously, the waters parted, creating a dry path for the Israelites to cross. Behind them, the Egyptian army gave chase, only to be swallowed up by the returning waters once the Israelites had crossed safely. The Israelites watched in awe as the sea closed over their oppressors, marking the end of their life in captivity. With the parting of the Red Sea, Moses led his people out of slavery, but his journey was far from over. The desert awaited them, full of challenges and trials, but also with the promise of a land flowing with milk and honey, a land of freedom. For now, however, they were free and, under Moses' leadership, were ready to face whatever lay ahead. Moses, now leader of a nation, faced new challenges. After the Exodus, Moses found himself in unfamiliar territory, both literally and metaphorically. He was no longer just a shepherd or a prince, he was a leader, responsible for guiding an entire nation. One of the most significant moments in Moses' leadership journey occurred on a mountain called Sinai. Here, amidst thunder, lightning, and the blast of a trumpet, Moses received the 10 Commandments from God. These laws became the moral compass for the Israelites, a set of divine guidelines for shaping their lives and their society. However, Moses' leadership was not just about receiving laws, it was about implementing them, about guiding his people through the desert of uncertainty towards a promised future. For 40 long years, Moses led the Israelites through the desert, facing a myriad of trials and tribulations. From manna from heaven to water from a rock, the journey was marked by miracles and tests of faith, all under the unwavering leadership of Moses. However, Moses' final challenge was perhaps his most personal. After leading his people to the threshold of the Promised Land, God told Moses that he himself would not enter it.
Climb this mountain in the region of Abarim and see the land that I will give to the Israelites. After you have seen it, you too will be gathered to your people, just like your brother Aaron, because when the assembly argued with me in the wilderness of Zin, you rebelled against my command and did not sanctify me before them in the matter referred to the waters.
Instead, he climbed Mount Nebo, where he caught a glimpse of the land his people would soon inhabit. Moses passed away on that mountain, without ever setting foot on the land he spent decades fighting for. At the age of 120, with unshakable vigor, he passed away and was buried by God in a hidden location, unrevealed to this day. Moses' life was a journey of faith, leadership, and unwavering determination, and his legacy continues to inspire millions today. Despite the difficulties and disappointments, Moses never wavered in his dedication to his people and in his faith. Thus, we conclude our in-depth look at the life of Moses, a man whose story is a testimony to the strength of the human spirit and divine intervention. His story reminds us that leadership is not about reaching the destination, but about the journey necessary to get there. It's about the lessons learned, the lives touched, and the legacy left. And Moses' legacy, set in stone and carried in the hearts of millions, is one of unwavering faith, resolute leadership, and relentless determination. As we say goodbye to the story of Moses, we are invited to reflect on the journey we are on. Just as he faced seemingly insurmountable challenges, we too have the opportunity to overcome obstacles and find our purpose. May the lessons of Moses inspire us to cultivate the faith, courage, and humility necessary to face adversity and transform our lives, following the example of the one whose life touched the hearts of generations. Thank you to all of you for watching this special video about Moses. But the story of Moses is just the beginning. We have many other amazing characters from the Bible to share with you. Every week we will be bringing you a new video, telling the life and story of a different character from the Bible. We want to invite you to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any episode, and also to leave your comments and suggestions. We want to know which Bible character you would like to know better. So, stay tuned, because the next video is right there, full of history, faith, and inspiration. Thanks again for following us, and see you in the next video.